Hey guys, welcome back to Intuitive Flow with Mikaela Wallet. In today's episode, we are diving into an IG live that I did, which I think I'm going to be doing these more often. So if you're not already following me on Instagram at Mikaela Wallet _, then make sure you definitely go and do that right now so you never miss one live. In these lives, you have the opportunity to get your questions asked or questions answered. In real time. And they're obviously, it's like so helpful when you guys are there live so that you guys can ask questions and then they are able to get answers. Chances are if you have the question, other people have the question as well, and they need to hear whatever it is that you are asking. So with that being said, today's Instagram live is going to be turned into a podcast episode, or today's Instagram live is being turned into a podcast episode for the day. You know what I mean. We are diving into why you keep attracting men into your life who simply are not it and how to change that for good. So really excited to get into this episode. I hope you like it. If you do, if you want to hear more Instagram lives, let me know. DM me on Instagram. You know, I love to hear from you, and make sure you leave a rating and review on the podcast episode while you're at it. All right, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to Intuitive Flow, hosted by me, Mikaela Wallet, an intuitive who uses neuroscience to reprogram your subconscious and trained intuition to get to the root cause of your problems to help you create a life that you don't need a vacation from. You've landed in the place you need to be to hear the no bullshit truth about why you keep repeating the same love and money patterns and how to finally break them. This podcast is here to wake you up. It's time to stop living as the watered down version of yourself and step unapologetically into the woman you came here to be. The woman who trusts herself deeply, holds powerful standards, and naturally attracts the love, money, and life she desires. Let's flow. If you are here watching live, welcome. I am so excited that you're here. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Say hello. Don't be shy. Okay, so today we are going to be getting into why you keep attracting men who simply are not it and how to stop that for good. So how to start attracting men who are worth your time, how to find the man who is putting you first, prioritizing you, loving you fully. Hello, Allie. Hello, Angela from Tennessee. I love it. I love it. I love it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, we're going to get into it pretty quickly here. So I want to start off by saying, I always say how to attract a man who is prioritizing you, putting you first, loving you, who is strong, handsome, making sure that you feel like the queen that you are, right? And I attracted my now husband, which is so crazy. Probably we met in August of 2023, and it wasn't always like this. Like the fact that I manifested him was purely and solely because of the work that I have done on myself and continue to do on myself. And it wasn't always like that. I was attracting men into my life who never made me feel like a priority, who put me last, who were narcissistic, who were emotionally unavailable, who did not make me feel like I was special and unique, did not make me feel like I was the best of the best. And because of that, I really thought that men were like men and money were like the bane of my existence. That's what I thought. So turns out the bane of my existence wasn't actually money and men. It was actually the fact that my self-image was at the bottom of the ocean. So what is self-image? Self-image is how you perceive yourself and how you perceive others perceive you. Say that 3 times fast. And self-love. So self-love, the source truth definition of self-love is the ability to prioritize yourself and put yourself first no matter what. And I feel like this concept gets kind of misconstrued with everyone. Like a lot of people think that self-love is got to be this like grand thing where we're like, doing the massages and the facials and the lymphatic drainage and all of the things that we can do that, yes, show us self-love, but that's not really what self-love, that's more like self-care, right? So self-love is just the simple act of putting yourself up first and prioritizing yourself. So making sure that you do what you say that you are going to do. Maybe that's even like something as simple as taking a deep breath before you go and do something for somebody else, or deciding to pour yourself a glass of water before pouring your child a glass of juice, right? It can always be just as simple as that. And so this is one thing that I want you to start to do is ask yourself, how can I start to do something for myself, or what can I do for myself before I go and do this other thing for this other person? And that is going to massively bring up your levels of self-love. So I thought that men and money were the bane of my existence. Turns out that, like I said, it was just self-love and self-image. They were at the bottom of the ocean. And wondering, like, what the heck does self-love, self-image, and the types of men that you attract into your life, like, what do they have to do with one another? And it really is as simple as the external reality that you create for yourself is a direct reflection of what is going on within you and how you are treating yourself. So when you are not prioritizing yourself and not putting yourself first and not thinking that you're the best of the best and not working on yourself to become your dream person, because how unfair is it of you to ask somebody else to attract your dream person while you are not your dream person? Like attracts like. So we want to obviously become our own dream person in order to attract the person that we want to attract into our life, in order to attract somebody who is worth our time. So we have what's called our creator field. You hear me talk about this a lot. It's an energetic field that is surrounding you 24/7. And it is made up of your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, and your emotions that you have on a daily basis. Okay. And you are constantly manifesting. So no matter what you think, you are manifesting 24/7, 7 days a week. Like all the time you are manifesting using your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, and your emotions. Okay. So if you are not in control of these things, guess what? They have control over you. They're going to create your reality, and you're going to just be like, well, why is my reality like this? When you have complete control over it based off of your own actions, thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. But if you're not aware and you're not taking everything that I'm about to teach you and implementing it into your day-to-day life, then you're just going to be kind of like winging it, flying by the seat of your pants. Is that the right term? But we don't want to be doing that, because we want to create a life that is intentional. We want to be very intentional with our life and what we're creating. We don't want to just be like creating who knows what and then getting reflections everywhere we go. That's like not the vibe, right? So no matter what, you're going to experience reflections. But what reflections are, if you're new here, hi, welcome. But a short little description of what reflections are is basically, I like to call them gifts from our higher self. So our higher self, our reality is constantly communicating with us and telling us something and giving us these messages, right? And it's up to us if we want to or have the ability to listen. And if we aren't listening, then those reflections, those gifts are just going to get louder and louder and louder until we pay attention. I mean, everyone knows when you have a lesson, quote unquote lesson from the universe, like if you ignore that lesson, what happens? It's going to repeat itself. It's going to happen again and again and again until you learn the lesson. And here's the thing is that people think that we are getting these lessons from the universe, from source, from God, and God, source, universe, they have their hands tied behind their back. There is nothing that they are just amplifying what we are already creating for ourselves. Okay. So you are in control. And if you take radical responsibility for yourself and your life, then you're able to have more control over what you are creating. So this creator field that I'm talking about, your higher self is just telling you what's in it by sending you these reflections, because if you are getting reflections from your higher self, it's because there's something going on in your creator field, in your energy, that is not in alignment with what you say that you want to create for yourself. So you have to get reflections. So when you are attracting men who are narcissistic, emotionally unavailable, not prioritizing you, making you feel like shit, that's because it's a reflection. It's a reflection. And I know this is a hard pill to swallow. When I learned about this work, I was like, what do you mean it's me? Like, it could never be me. It couldn't be me. Why would it be me? Right? I'm not the problem. And it wasn't until I took that radical responsibility for myself and for my life and for what I was creating that I was able to turn things around for myself. And the reason that it happened as quickly as it did is because I went headfirst into the deep end when it comes to this work. I was like, I've seen it work for other people. If it can work for them, it can work for me. So I was doing anything and everything that I could to do my best to shift things in my energy to begin to attract what I actually wanted to attract in my life. And that's in regards to the men I was dating and attracting. It's in regards to the money I was making. It's in regards to the jobs I was manifesting into my life. Like, it's so many things, so many different areas of life and the relationships and friendships that I was attracting into my life that it played a role in. Okay. So going back into like the creator field and these reflections that we're experiencing, if we are here, if you're here, chances are you most likely are ready and willing to take that radical responsibility for yourself and for your life. And if that's the case, I want to hold your hand when I say this because it's a very simple thing to do, but it's not easy. And when I say that, I mean, because I can sit here and I can tell you everything that I've done to change my life and to change the reality that I once was living to what it is today. But if you are not taking everything that I'm learning and you're not implementing it into your own life, then you're not going to like make a change, right? You can go to the gym and stare at the weights, but if you're not actually lifting the weights, like, you're not going to see changes in your body, right? It's the same thing. If you're not working the work doesn't work. If you work the work works. You just have to be doing it, implementing it into your life, and believing in the change that is possible for yourself. So specifically today, I want to talk about a few specific quality traits in men, or maybe just in general, in the people that you're attracting into your life. These are the types of men that I was attracting, and just relationships that I was attracting that simply were not it. Narcissistic men, emotionally unavailable men, and men who do not make you a priority. Okay. So what I feel like narcissism is something that's like so thrown around. And so I want to just be as simple as possible when I explain to you like what that is. And the simplest way for me to explain what narcissism is when someone's need to protect their ego becomes more important than honesty, accountability, and other people's feelings. So if you are experiencing, like I said, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. If you are experiencing men in your life who are showing narcissistic traits, then that is, and you feel like they are being a narcissist. When we experience reflections, they come in the form of people, they come in the form of situations, they come in the form of experiences. And so if you're attracting men into your life who you feel like they're being a narcissist, that means that there is one or more areas of your own life where you are not taking radical responsibility for the way that your life looks. And looking back on it, when I was attracting those types of men, that was a really, like, up until I was about 30 years old, is when I stopped being a victim to my circumstances, right? I started to take that radical responsibility for the way that my life looked. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm attracting like shitty situation after shitty situation when it comes to dating. What's the common denominator? Oh, it's me. Right? So once I was able to look inward and be like, what's going on within my energy that's attracting these types of situations, these types of men, and I took that radical responsibility, that's when things started to shift. So again, I wasn't taking radical responsibility for my life until I was about 29, the end of my 29th year of life. And it wasn't until I was like, oh, I am the problem. Oh, I am like there's a reason that I'm attracting these quote unquote these lessons, like I call them reflections. So I'm attracting these reflections because there's something in my energy that is attracting them, that's pulling them in, that's magnetizing them. And if I can magnetize shitty situations, great news. You can magnetize great situations for yourself as well. You just have to be willing to take radical responsibility and do the energetic and physical work to shift those things. So when I started to take radical responsibility for the way that my life looked, I stopped attracting men into my life who were not taking responsibility for their actions, who were showing narcissistic character traits, who were basically gaslighting me, right? And another thing with gaslighting is if you're attracting men in your life or situations or women in your life who are gaslighting you, where are you gaslighting yourself? Remember, it's an inside out world. So you have to ask yourself, like, what's going on within me? How am I acting towards myself where it's being reflected to me in another person? So for me, I was basically pretending that like everything was okay when it wasn't okay, right? I was living a life I always talk about, but it was like 2021. I just started waking up so depressed, so anxious. And just, I felt like I woke up living a life that like wasn't my own. Okay. And that was because I continuously abandoned myself and I was continuously searching outside of myself for the answers and what I should or shouldn't do, the choices I should make. And basically, eventually what happened is that I woke up and I was living a life that wasn't even my own because it was so heavily influenced by the people around me because I didn't trust myself because I thought that I had fucked my life, quote unquote, messed up my life up so much already that I couldn't trust myself. Right. And so I had to heal the part of myself who didn't trust herself. I had to heal the part of myself who was trying to just shove everything underneath the rug and pretend like everything was okay when it wasn't okay. Like you are attracting what you are, however you're treating yourself. So if you're attracting people into your life who are gaslighting you or showing narcissistic traits, you want to ask yourself, where are you doing that to yourself? And I know, like I said, that's a hard pill to swallow, but once you take that radical responsibility, you're already shifting things, like you're already making massive shifts in the way that you are in the situations that you're creating for yourself. So that is what happens when you take radical responsibility, is you are able to shift that quickly. So next I want to talk about emotionally unavailable. So if you're attracting people into your life who are emotionally unavailable, you have to start asking yourself, like, where am I being emotionally unavailable to myself? Where am I not honoring my emotions? Do I feel like shame or guilt about feeling my feelings? And this isn't something that a lot of us were taught growing up, okay? But it is your responsibility to shift this and be okay with feeling your feelings. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or you're a man, okay? Or anything in between. You have to take radical responsibility for the feelings that you're feeling, and you have to honor those feelings, and you have to talk about them, and you have to think that they're the literal hottest thing that you could possibly be feeling, okay? Know that you are in charge of your reality, but the only way that you can fully take charge of your reality is if you're honoring your emotions as well as taking that radical responsibility. But when things pop up and make you sad or angry or jealous or anything, we're not bottling it all up, because there's a couple terrible things that happen. Number one, you're going to attract people in your life who are not emotionally available. Number two, if you've got shit going on and you're not talking about it, you're not expressing it to like out of your body, getting it out of your body. You don't have to do this with anybody. You can literally just in a journal, like do a bunch of, I call these fuck you letters, and you just write it all out and you just get it out on paper. But maybe it's somatic work for you and you're dancing and you're using music to like release these emotions. You've got to take all of that and you got to let it go. Like you have to release these emotions from your body no matter what they are, because if you are holding on to them for too long, they will manifest into physical body ailments. And what does that mean? Like if you are holding, like every single thing in this world starts off as a thought. Like this phone holder started off as a thought. Then it was created and sent into, like drawn up, and then it was sent into a manufacturer, and then the manufacturer made it, and then it got sold and to my friend, and then my friend gifted it to me. Okay. Like everything starts off as a thought. And so do physical body ailments. So does illness. So does sickness. So does disease. So do literally like these emotions, they get stored in our body, and then it creates disease. It creates sickness. So the last thing that we want to do is hold on to emotions that need to be released from our body, because if you hold on to those for long enough, they will manifest into physical body ailments and sickness and disease and illness, and nobody wants any of that. And I teach all about that inside of Awaken Intuition Training Camp, the energetic root cause of like literally everything, anything that you could possibly think of. But they all start off with your emotions. And the more that you can honor your emotions and honestly think that your emotions are the hottest thing since sliced bread, is going to be what makes you emotionally whole. Okay. So I was shoving things down, trying to be the cool, chill girl, trying to be liked, right? It was giving pick me energy, and it just like is not cute. So if you are doing that also, like if you're in the pick me energy, then what's happening is that you are actually pushing away the things that you want, because you're just like, oh, I need this. I need this validation. I need this, this approval. I need this attention, right? From this other person, from these other people. And so I'm going to be the cool girl. I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that they like me. And I'm going to make sure that I don't say anything that might upset them, or maybe they would disagree with, or whatever the case may be. But you are like, I'm going to do everything to just be like the good little girl in the corner, which is also what most of us were taught growing up, right? We attract, or we get all of this conditioning and all of these programmings from childhood, they come from somewhere. Okay. So where do they come from for you? And for me, I was creating these situations where I wasn't emotionally whole. And there are 4 parts to being whole, and I talk all about that inside of my course Devoted. But when you are not emotionally whole, when you are not whole, but also emotionally whole, you are making yourself a match to attract emotionally unavailable people, because you're not emotionally whole. You are being emotionally unavailable to yourself. Therefore, you are attracting situations and people into your life who make you feel that way too, and are being that way to you as well. And also, it's making you a match to be cheated on, because you are not whole. And so you are going to attract people into your life who don't feel like on an energetic level that they can, or maybe even a physical level, that they can get everything from you. So being physically whole is a part of that, right? Like if you don't feel like your body is the hottest thing since sliced bread and you are the shit, and your self-image is through the roof, then you are, and you're not physically whole. And I use my intuition to intuitively measure, like on a scale of 0 to 100, with 100 being the most whole, how whole you are, so that we can see like how much of a match you are to experience situations that you don't want to experience, right? And then give you the energetic and physical tools so that you can shift that and no longer be a match for any of that type of unfortunate things to happen for you. Notice how I say for you, because everything's happening for you. But anyways, I digress. So when you are not physically whole, you're going to, again, attract people into your life, in relationships in your life, maybe the relationship that you're in currently, that don't feel like they can get everything that they need from you. So they're going to go and have wandering eyes. Maybe they're going to go cheat on you. Maybe they're going to go and talk to somebody, either emotionally cheat on you or physically cheat on you, or maybe even both. For me, I continuously attracted, like I have been cheated on in every single relationship that I have been in, up until, well, except for like one. There was one, but I've been cheated on in the majority of my relationships. And there is a typical situation that happens where it's like, oh, it's, let's blame, and say that it's all their fault. But again, I wouldn't be taking radical responsibility for my life if that were the case, right? So I have fully forgiven the people who have ever done me wrong. But the only fucking way that I was able to do that was to take radical responsibility and see the part that my own energy played in that. Right. And I know, again, that that's a hard pill to swallow. Like, what do you mean that it was partly like that my energy partly played a role in creating the situation of being cheated on? But again, we're taking radical responsibility here. So if I'm taking radical responsibility, I'm seeing, okay, well, I had body dysmorphia. I had a binge eating disorder. I was constantly sharing my body on social media to like prove something and to get validation and to get likes. And it was sad. It was sad. Like I said, my self-image was at the bottom of the ocean. And so because of that, I wasn't like, my physically whole on a scale of 0 to 100 was like at a 2%. Okay. And that's not where we want it. We want it to be in the 90s. We want it to be like 98 and above, right? And so once you can heal the part of you that doesn't feel whole, and like I said, there's 4 parts of being whole, then you are no longer an energetic match for being cheated on, for attracting emotionally unavailable men, for attracting narcissistic men or men with narcissistic behavior traits. And you are capable of shifting your energies. And even if you are in a relationship right now where maybe you're experiencing reflections in your relationship where they're not treating you the way that you want them to treat you, you're able to shift what's going on in your energy. And because you're shifting what's going on in your energy, they have no choice but to shift as well. Like, they will shift whatever they are doing. But you have to be, like I said, willing, instead of blaming and being in your victim matrix, taking that radical responsibility for yourself, for what you are creating in your life and in your relationship. And you have to be able to figure out what it is that you're doing that is attracting that behavior, and then shift it. And you can use intuition to do this. And what are the energetic steps? What are the physical steps? What are the holes in your creator field? Meaning, holes in your creator field are essentially when you have a limiting belief, and this limiting belief is not in alignment with the potential that your higher self knows that you have. Your higher self is literally you, just without all of the limiting belief, the programming, the conditioning, so on and so forth. It is literally you at your peak form, okay? And you have the potential to embody that version of yourself, but sometimes your human self gets in the way of that, and these limiting beliefs do pop up. And The trick is that you just get so good with being like, oh, that thought, that limiting belief, that's not serving me anymore. I unsubscribe. I'm going to take this. I'm going to throw it out of my brain. I'm going to throw it out the window. It no longer exists. I choose to believe this instead, right? But that takes time and repetition because you, for maybe 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, however old you are, young you are, years, right? You could have been focusing on all of the negative. You could be focusing on all of the things that are not serving you. And guess what? Like I said in the beginning of this, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions are what's creating your reality. So if you're not aware of your thoughts, then you are going to, it's what you create what you focus on. Like attracts like. So you're going to continuously attract the same situation if you do not break that thought pattern, if you do not catch the limiting beliefs. So you want to start to change that. And I know that it seems like a lot at first, but you just have to take one step at a time. And I'm going to give you guys some action steps to make changes. Okay. All right. So I'm also going to give you an example of, obviously, like I talked about, not feeling like a priority in your relationship or in the situationships that you're attracting, right? Like maybe you're not feeling like a priority. And this could be in a relationship that you're in currently. It could be in maybe like the guy that you're seeing isn't like calling you at night and saying goodnight. Maybe he's not asking you out on dates, like whatever the case is, where you're not feeling like you're being a priority. And you're being made a priority. So you have to ask yourself, like I said, inside out world, in what area of your own life are you not making yourself a priority? It's seriously that simple. Like just flip it around. It's a mirror, okay? So if you're getting fucking triggered in your life and you're like, I am so sick of not feeling like a priority. We've got a queen here who says that she's not feeling like a priority in her friendships. It's the same thing. It could be relationships. It could be in your relationship. It could be in your friendships as well. So then you ask yourself, like, where in my life am I not making myself a priority? And we have 8 areas of life, and the areas of life are social, which is like friends and social. If you are not living with your boyfriend, then you would have him be in the social area of life. And then you've got the family area of life, financial area of life, vocation area of life, passion hobby area of life, physical area of life, mental, and spiritual areas of life. So I go through all of this. I teach all of this inside of Devoted, like what each area of life involves. But like, you have to understand that like where you are not making yourself a priority, it doesn't just affect one area, okay? It's going to have a huge ripple effect on your entire life. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. So when you're not making yourself a priority in your social area of life, friendships, okay? If you are feeling like maybe somebody is like pissing you off. This could be like you being a narcissist. And maybe somebody is like telling you that you upset them. And instead of just saying sorry, you're like, no, you're like being defensive. You're like, oh, I could never, like, that's not what I meant. And you're not just like apologizing and saying like, I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. Okay. That's not taking radical responsibility. That's going to affect your social area of life, your friendships. It's going to have a negative impact on whoever you're having the tiff with, okay? But when you're not prioritizing yourself, you're going to experience reflections in your friendships that make you feel like you are not being a priority. Maybe that's you not getting invited to the function or to the party, not being included in things that the rest of the friend group is being included in, right? So if you're not making yourself a priority, that can show up in your social area of life, your friendships, by them making you feel like you are not a priority. when it comes to if you are not making yourself a priority, and it can possibly show up in your family area of life, by your, let's say you're married, you're in a relationship and you're living with your significant other, then your partner could stop taking you out on date night. Like all of a sudden they're not taking the initiative. And I'm giving this example because this has happened for me before. There was a time where I was feeling like Bryson wasn't making me a priority, making our date nights a priority. And I felt a type of way about it. And instead of getting really pissed off, and this is the beautiful thing about this work, is instead of getting like pissed off, me like, why are you not taking me out on dates? Like, and being all naggy, because like, is me nagging him going to make him is going to make him want to take me out on a date? Probably not. Like, it's probably just going to annoy him. So what I did instead is I used my intuition to say, okay, like what area of life am I not prioritizing myself? And I intuitively checked in and got that I was not prioritizing myself in the passion hobby area of life. So passion hobby area of life cannot be like, oh, I go to the gym all the time, because that's you going to the gym to like better your health and your physical well-being. Whereas if a passion hobby could be like pottery, it could be jump rope, it could be pickleball, it could be tennis, it could be something, it could be painting, it could be hula hooping, it could be something that you genuinely want to do just because it's fun, not because you're going to get something out of it. Okay. So if you are not, so what happened for me was I intuitively was like, okay, cool. I'm not prioritizing my passion hobby area of life. And I had been promising myself that I wanted to go line dancing. And so I look up like what's going on like this week around me where I can line dance. And there was actually something going on like a Wednesday, or I think it might have actually even been a Friday night. Like it was a long time ago. So I don't say anything to Bryson. It was a Friday. I just get in my car. I tell him, hey, I'm going to go out to line dancing. I'm going to get myself some dinner. I'll be back around like 10:30, 11. And he was like, okay. Like, first of all, he's like, why are you leaving me on a Friday night? Like to go on a date for yourself? I'm jealous. Why can't I come? But like, also he doesn't like to do, line dancing. That's just like not his cup of tea. So obviously I'm not going to make him do something that he doesn't want to do. So, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it myself, right? So I go to this line dancing event and I take myself out to dinner by myself and I come home. The next morning I wake up and he had like he went to go work out and then came back and there was like a gift on the coffee table. And it was my UGG slippers that I had been wanting for like forever, and a card, just like a just because gift. And then he took me out on a date on Saturday night for dinner. So it really is that it can happen that fast. Like if you are able to pinpoint, okay, what area of life am I not prioritizing myself, and then do something about it, then your partner will be able to shift, and you don't even have to say anything. So it just like saves so much time, so much energy for you to not have to be like nagging them to like take you out or to do what you want them to do. Instead, you're basically using the energetic cheat code to relationships in life. So that's how it can affect your family area of life. So then we've got vocation. So if you're not prioritizing yourself, it can affect your vocation area of life, which is your career area of life. If let's say it's between you and one other person for a promotion or a raise, if you are not prioritizing yourself, guess what? Your boss isn't going to prioritize you. You're going to miss out on the raise. It's truly that simple. But we've got, let's say it's Sam and Tammy, and Sam is the one who is putting herself first, waking up when she says she's going to wake up, going to her workout classes on time, not hitting snooze 75 times, eating clean, getting 8 to 10K steps in a day because she said she would, taking deep breaths before she pours her baby boy a cup of juice because she knows that when she prioritizes herself, it's what's best for her whole life and everyone around her and everyone that she loves and everyone that she cares about when she fills up her own cup first, right? So guess who's going to get the raise, the promotion? Sam, because she prioritizes herself and she puts herself first. So her boss subconsciously, energetically, for no reason other than its energy, is going to choose her because she is choosing herself. It's truly that simple. So if you're not prioritizing yourself and let's say you have a business and you are desiring to sell whatever it is that you're selling and you are not prioritizing yourself, guess what? Your clients, the people who you want to buy, the people who you want them to buy from you are not going to prioritize you over your competitor or over somebody who does something similar to what you do because you're not prioritizing yourself. So, do we see how not prioritizing yourself is going to affect not just one, but like multiple areas of your life? We've got 8 whole areas of life. They're going to affect every single one. We've got a question up here. It says, what about stuff like Pilates, or is all working out? And no, for the passion hobby area of life. So that is going to be, if obviously we're going to Pilates because we want our body to look a certain way. We want to get healthy. We want to be strong. So yeah, Pilates is also a no. Okay. So it has to be something that you do to like just for fun, like not because you get something out of it. So we went over how not prioritizing yourself affects multiple areas of your life. And I want you to start to notice, this is your homework, where in your life are you not, like, what different ways are you not prioritizing yourself? And a cheat code to figuring out how you are, or if you are not prioritizing yourself, is asking yourself, where in my life right now do I feel like I'm not being made a priority? If you feel anywhere in your life that you are not being made a priority, then you are not prioritizing yourself. And it's your job to ask yourself to become aware of, where am I not prioritizing myself? Where am I abandoning myself and not doing the things that I said that I would do, right? So that is your homework for the next 7 days, is for you to become more aware of where you're abandoning yourself, where you're not honoring your emotions, and where you are not taking accountability for why your life looks the way that it does. So I want you to focus on those things for the next 7 days, and I want you to let me know. Let me know how it's affecting your life. Let me know what you have uncovered in that 7 days, because I'm sure that now that you become aware of it, that you're aware of it and you're like, oh, okay, the wheels are turning, you're going to be able to then shift things. But you have to first become aware of the fact that you are doing it and figure out where you are doing it so that you can stop. All right. Mwah. Love you guys. Bye. If you love this episode, make sure you follow Intuitive Flow so you don't miss the next conversation. And if you're loving the show, leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps more women find this podcast and finally break the cycles they've been feeling stuck in. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at MikaelaWallet_. And if you're ready to go deeper into rebuilding your self-trust, raising your standards, and cleaning up your energetic hygiene, check the show notes for ways to work with me below. And remember, the life you want is not out of reach. You just need to become the woman who can hold it. Until next time, keep flowing.